What's going on, everybody? And welcome to another week of the PGA Tour. We've, honestly, we've given out we usually talk about maybe 25 plays, and then we have our favorite plays, and we've been pretty much nailing them. So we've got some pressure this week to keep that up, Sheets. Anything from an overall perspective before we jump right in, and feel free to share your screen, and we'll go.
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen and kind of tease this in the live Discord. There are a couple of guys who really I am going to be pounding.
I have a gut feeling about one of them.
Okay, so there are three. I'll just tell you, I backed. There are three guys I made outright right bets on. Okay, and I'm going to be getting just as the kids like to say, a shit ton of all of them. Okay. And the reason why, I think this is my process again, I watch everything. I have my own little way of massaging projections for upside, and I do different things with the ownerships, and I come up with kind of like this grid. And then I watch the guys I like to watch, and if the guys that like Rick and the other guys who I respect, make the mistake of agreeing with what I came up with, then it's open season. And if God forbid, they're not highly owned also somehow, then for better or worse, they're getting sent in. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully you guys can figure this out. Figured it out if you guys thought about it, and we could just get right into it.
Let's do it. All right. Well, you're gonna have to mention him as we go, of course. If you want to say who you have. Okay. So we've got we've only got two guys over 11K. So I guess we
could do the 10Ks and up.
Yeah, just 10K and higher. I'm playing three different guys as of right now. I'm guessing that we're going to be a little bit different, because my guess is you're going to play some Patrick Reed, and I think Hatton's going to be pretty popular. I'll be below the field on him, but I'll probably have a share or two. But I'm into Rory's. going to be chalky. He's the guy I have the most of, along with Hovland, who's also going to be very chalky. And then I like taking a shot on Bryce while no one. He's just going to be the lowest owned. I know he struggled, but he did actually have a couple good rounds last week. He's just been sort of all over the map. If he can string it together, we know he's the kind of guy who can, crush a tournament. So I actually do like those guys. Don't find myself getting to as much Reed. How about you?
Reed's fine. My favorite, and he's one of my outright bets by a decent amount, is Bryson, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's my favorite spend up. I got him at 13-1 or something like that.
That feels pretty good.
Outright. There's a big drop off in field from the last couple of weeks. And not that this is like a cupcake field, but you get some guys out. So I like him the most. And you're right, I do like Reed. I actually, the only reason I don't like Hovland is because of the ownership. I just think Reed's just a much better GPP play, just because it's going to rate to be like half the ownership maybe. As Hovland. I don't know exactly why. Hovland's probably a better golfer than he is. I guess that's one of the.
And he's super consistent too.
He's hyper consistent in a weird way.
Yeah.
So I do like those guys. I'm not a Hatton guy. I remember we both played him when it was 8,100 earlier. In one of the first tournaments back. But the European guys that don't play that often, maybe I'm just ethnocentric or something like that. I don't play Tommy Fleetwood. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't play Terrell Hatton. He rates to be okay for me, but for me, Bryson is the best, and I am getting I'll have the most of him and everybody else in that range.
Right. It is interesting that just to talk real quick about Reed, he's probably in better form than any of these guys are. And look at his last tournaments. What he got 4th, 3rd, 16, 8. I'm almost wondering if these numbers even right. Yeah, I think they're missing a tournament in there, but still, he's obviously been in pretty good form. And yet I think people are sort of down on him, at least the pro players. And I haven't heard anybody talking about him. And Hatton, I don't hear a lot of people talking about, but I see his ownership is pretty high. I like the idea. I like that you're into the Bryce. You're not into Rory at all?
No.
What's that? No.
No.
Okay, interesting. Because I think he's like the chalky. I hear of him as the cash play this week.
Good thing I don't play cash.
There you go. Hey, no. I'm asking you because I'm not.
Yeah, no. No, I don't really like him.
All right. What are we doing in the 9K range?
So if you go, guys, suspense. Like, guys, think about what I'm going to say before I say it. So I'm either playing nobody from this 9K range, or this is like one of my big plays. And the answer is I'm playing nobody from the 9K range.
Whoa.
Yeah, the only guy that I have mild interest in is Sanjay M at 9,700, and a tiny bit of Hideki. But aside from that, the 9K range has eluded me this week. Hideki on FanDuel actually is really good, but yeah, I didn't get to any of that. The majority of what I'm doing is going to be underneath all this. So yeah, go for it.
These are your good form guys right here, you know? Like,
yeah, like my Horschel and who else? Who else is good in here? And Hideki, I guess.
I mean, so yeah, I mean, look, I mean, but guys who are in good form, I mean, nobody's in better form than Fitzpatrick and Spieth, right?
That's
like,
true.
I don't know why no one's interested in why the ownership is projected so low on Spieth. Are people in DFS just done with him? And maybe if they still are, I'm just gonna have to jump on this. I mean, this guy's come in the top 6 his last 3 tournaments. Like, I don't know exactly what else we want. And when Spieth is particularly a guy who, when he gets hot, is a totally different player. So I'm very into Spieth. I'm very into him. I have him, and I have just beneath him, I have Fitzpatrick and Matsuyama. No Jason Day, below the field on Casey, if any. And then I'm going to have to stay on brand and play Tommy Fleetwood. Just a guy who is always 4 or 5% owned, I think is a really good, actually real life golfer. He's sort of had hit and misses lately with the European stuff, but he's actually had some good runs there as well. At 9K, I certainly can get behind Tommy Fleetwood. I just think he's a good golfer, and I don't really have a great excuse for that, anything other than the fact that he's going to be low owned.
Do you want to go into the 8Ks?
You want on the 8Ks? Look, we got our Horschel guy, right? Okay, I'm going to play some Horschel again, and I'm going to run it back. I have no problem with that. I think he's going to be low owned again. His price is a little higher. There's some sticker shock there, and I don't think people will play him. The other guys who I'm interested in this range are Zalatoris, Homa, Burns, English, and that's pretty much it for, and Kokrak. And I have heavy interest in all of those guys. Now, the highest ones, the ones I'm most interested in, look, I'm not going to get away from Sam Burns now. You know what I mean? He's been great to me. I'm not going to get away from Homa now. I know he's not a home course, but the one that really stands out is the Harris English price drop, because he's been so awful. I'm willing to take those chances right when they happen. This guy, if we had him at this price, whatever, a month ago, Harris English would have been 40% owned, I think, here. I really believe that. Maybe I'm wrong, Sheets, and you can correct me if I am, but I just think that the bad form is not enough of a reason for me to totally lay off unless I think it's an injury. So I'm going to go right back to it.
All right, I want to share a couple of things with you. First of all, for those of you who've been watching this the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've been kind of tracking this, and as you guys know, I may or may not know, I track like different ownership projections in basketball and in golf, and it's much more manageable in golf because there's no like late news that affects the ownerships, whatever. So it's much more pure. And I've been tracking like which golfers tend to be more owned than they always are projected. And it's really, really interesting because the ownership projections in general are really super sharp, like literally across the industry. I mean, like they're really, really close. And there were 3-4 weeks in a row where of the top 4 like misprojected guys, Will Zalatoris was in it literally like 4 times in a row. And just to kind of show you, hang on, where is it? Right here. So in last week, he was 3rd again. He was 3rd most underprojected owned guy. Like they had him across the board at 12, 13, 10, and 12, and he came in at 21%. So yeah. So apparently, whatever this ownership projection is, you got to add 5% to it. Now, again, I don't know if that should take you off the play, but I'm just saying that if you do want to balance you want to set rules or whatever it is. So one of my plays, outright plays, and a guy I might be locking in, comes from this range, and it took every ounce of energy for me to not smile as you were talking about it, but that is going to be Harris English.
That's who that was my guy when you said the first, the one of the locks. That was my guy who I thought you were going to say.
Yeah. So at 8,300, I mean, I was honestly like, he projects for me as like a top 5 play. And I was just afraid he was going to be like 20%. And then when the ownerships kind of came out, and it's literally like across the board, like 6%, 6%, 7%, you know what I mean? So it's not like there's one outlier that's like keeping it down. You know, I guess it's because, you know, he got, you know, it was +8 after like 4 holes last week. And then he kind of struggled, you know, he struggled, but he came back, he fought. You know, he ran really, really hot for like a long part of the season. And then, like they say, regression is a funny business, and regression might have happened all in one round last week. Hopefully, it got out of the way, and I'll even take a middling result here. So yeah, I played him at some amount to 1. I forget what it was now, a nitrogen to win, and I'm going to be playing almost all of him on DraftKings. So yeah, you were alluding to it, and you got that. The other guy, again, the other guy who I like, but he's going to be a little more popular maybe, is Jason Kokrak. He's at 8,100. He rates like a top 10-ish, 12-ish type value for me, but he's probably going to be 15% plus. And then the Zalatoris, like I say, he rates to be a good play, but you know, and again, not that he's a bad play, but I'm just saying that if I play him, I can't just presume that he's going to be the guy that differentiate me. That's all. But I do like him quite a bit this week.
Yeah, I think pretty much a lot of the same page. So no Burns or Homa for you, huh?
I have Burns a little on FanDuel, if that makes anything.
Okay. I'm still yet to play a golf tournament on FanDuel this like year.
It sucks. Because you know what it is, like you'll see when you do construction, like you play like 4 studs like every week.
Oh yeah.
It's like play 4 studs. That's what you do. I mean, like
it does make it seem like there'd be some edge there though, like maybe just, you know.
Yeah, I mean, no, I've done fine, but I mean, you know, it's drafting is much more fun.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, get to play all like a 6-8K guys. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's just that's more fun for me.
I gotcha. Well, here's the range. I want to let you start here because I am having trouble getting to anything, almost anything.
So, fine. So I'll just do it then. So 3 of my top 4 plays are from this range. Oh. One of them I am as close to locking in as I can, and I'm betting him outright at $1 billion to 1. It literally has no chance to win. But and so I threw him up there, and then I'm like, okay, he ranks number 1 for me. He's only 10%-ish. He's $1 zillion to 1 in outrights. And if that wasn't enough, just throw it out there just because he's, you know, look, it's a free video, so I'm allowed to say what it was. He actually rates as like Rick Rungoods when his top 5 like sleepers also. So if you throw in that also, that's good enough for me. So I will be playing Corey Connors.
Oh, he's the only one I've got. Go ahead.
There it is. So I'll be playing him to win. I'll be playing him to place. I'll be playing him to show. You know what I mean? Like he's my top guy. And then the other 2 guys within this range I like are Cam Davis, but nothing earth-shattering there. He's going to be one of the more popular ones. And the other semi-popular one also is Cameron Tringali. But for me, and by the way, Cam Davis is one of Rick's plays too. So I'm just kind of hoping that they don't become that popular. But that's my favorite is Connors, and then Davis and Tringali. And I got and because I want to play DeChambeau, you know, I'm very, very comfortable with these guys.
Yeah, so it's interesting because I think that it's more than the 7K range not that I'm struggling with. It's the upper 7K range that I have less interest in.
Yeah, I don't like anybody up there.
Yeah, it's hard. The only one who I kind of considered up there was Tringale and Griffin. Neither of which are going to be particularly low owned. Are we making a mistake by not taking a shot on, I don't want to say Ricky Fowler, but I would say Justin Rose?
See, he rates for me as actually a top 10 play, but he doesn't feel like just one of those like older guys that you don't want to play.
But he does, but he's so cheap, and he's he's a really good golfer.
He's going to be single digit owned too.
Yeah, low owned. I kind of have maybe.
Yeah, maybe you know I'm going to throw him in.
Let's get him in a little bit, I think.
And as long as we're doing this, I got another just 5%er is Siwoo Kim.
Yeah, Siwoo Kim might be really, really low owned, and I'll do my.
No, and there's another one. I got one more. My man.
Is he Newt?
No, freaking Chris Kirk.
Oh, okay. Chris Kirk guy. Geez.
But he's not exactly 2% either. People are going to be playing him probably.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. I forgot he was because he was exactly at the 7K mark, so I actually didn't notice him. But I'm actually open to getting a little bit of some of those guys you mentioned. I like the guys you mentioned in the 7K range. Corey Connors was my guy. I don't mind. I'm always going to play a little bit more Brendan Todd because he's been good to me, and I don't know that that's like a good reason to give anybody, except for that I think he's a solid golfer who is always generally around. The guy who's interesting to me is the other one is like, what about Alex Noren? We've seen some pretty good showings out of him. He's played pretty well lately and just completely unowned. Another guy who I've heard a couple people talk about is Ian Poulter. I didn't have any specific read on this myself, but I was mildly interested. And then the other one who I've had some success with and I actually like here, and I've heard a lot of pros talk about, is Norlander.
Okay.
Sort of was interested to see if you had any specific thoughts on those guys, but
no, I didn't get to any of those guys.
Okay. All right. I just was curious because those were the ones I had marked. And then the only other one, maybe it's for old time's sake, is Benny On. But
yeah. Oh, it's so funny. Like I always do this like on a Monday, like just as the salaries come out before I look at any projection, anything at all. Mm-hmm. I'll just say who just kind of just like stands out. And when I saw On, that was like the first guy actually.
Okay.
And I'm like, ooh, let's go. You know what I mean? I just really thought about that.
I like that. All right.
All right. So I got a couple of vomits under 7K. I got a couple of like, kind of normal plays that we play a decent amount. And then I got a couple of vomits. So the guys that we play, doesn't seem like anybody's playing this week, or Brendan Steele and John Huh under 7K.
Mm-hmm.
But the real vomits are 6,100 Richie Wierenski.
Oh yeah.
And it goes against Mike, but I don't play the old guy play is Zach Johnson.
Zach Johnson's right guy.
6,900. So that's what I have under the 7Ks are vomit Richie Wierenski, old guy Zach Johnson, who maybe I could pair with Justin Rose. And then the I don't know why the people aren't playing these guys. The normal, I mean, these guys seem relatively normal, like good plays, is Brendan Steele and John Huh. They always seem to do well, but or at least people seem to play them. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't seem like anybody's doing it this week. So we'll see what I'll try it.
Yeah, I can get behind those guys because I didn't have a bunch of guys down in this range that I liked. You mentioned who I liked, and you mentioned I'm trying to think of who the other one you mentioned was. I had Zach Johnson. And
really.
And Brendan Steele I have, but Zach Johnson, it was mostly because of a write-up I read about him that really liked him.
Sounds good to me.
So I'm looking for any excuse there. I'm gonna go stay on my thing and play the young guys, and I'm gonna play a little bit of Patrick Rogers again. By the way, he's been fine. Like he hasn't had that big explosion thing, but he had the 35th at Genesis was certainly fine for a guy who was, I think he was like 6,200 that week, or is really cheap, 6,800, I guess, 67. But I'm fine with going right back to Patrick Rogers and played some of these young guys. What about one other guy who I was going to ask you about, because I have a friend who recommended him, who I literally don't think is necessarily like a golf genius or anything, but Aaron Wise. I just wanted to see if you had any thoughts because you've talked about him before a few times.
Yeah, you know where I talked about him? He was like a real chalk play on FanDuel like a month ago. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I played him, and I didn't really see him too much in the content that I was looking at, and the projections don't really come up with it, but 6,700 to 6,700. So
yep.
I'm not gonna argue with it.
I got you. Do you want to do the little game?
Yeah, this is oh God, we're not playing Sebastian Munoz either.
Oh, wait a minute, hold on. I totally missed on that one. I actually did have him with I had him at 12% is what I wrote him in.
All right, so this is what we're gonna do. First, we're gonna say who's gonna win the tournament. So we're gonna recap. So first, we're gonna say who's gonna win the tournament. Then we're gonna say someone under 10K to run top 5. Okay. Then we're gonna go under 9K to go top 10, under 8K, top 20, and then under 7K to make the cut.
All right, sounds good.
All right, so who's gonna win?
So winning for me, I already know who you bet on, so I like the idea of playing Taking Bryce, but I'll go ahead and take Rory then.
Yeah, I mean it's totally fine. I'm probably gonna just recap the same guy. So yeah. I like Bryson to win.
Okay.
Now the pressure's on because I got to pick someone under 10K to finish top 5, and I didn't like anybody in the 9K range, and I don't like anybody in the 8K range well enough to get into the top 5. You know, as much as I like to, flex English or whatever, top 5's tough. So I will go with, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna be cheater. I'm just gonna give you my top play under 10K, whatever that is, and that's gonna be, hate to be ethnocentric. I'm gonna flip a coin between Sungjae Im and Hideki Matsuyama. Who's the lowest owned? Matsuyama. So I'm gonna go
on the same page here. So I'm just gonna pick whoever you don't pick.
I'm taking Matsuyama.
All right, I'll take Sungjae.
Okay. You go first. Under 9K. Well, we only know who I'm picking. Now, under 9K to get top 10, I will say Harris English.
Okay, I would. I like that. Obviously, I'm just gonna stick with my man Sam Burns, but a little shout out to Max Homa.
Oh, sounds good to me. Under 8K, to get top 20, I will go with Corey Connors.
I will go with wow, that's
Justin Rose is a good play, probably.
Justin Rose would be, I guess, my next guy. I was gonna say he or Norlander.
Just my next guy, just didn't stress it, was Cam Davis.
Okay.
But he's a little too popular for me to like play that, to pound in GPP.
Sure.
And then under 7K to make the cut, I have to say, as much as I'm going to say vomit Richard Rowinski, I think that I'm going to be play safe, safe, whatever it is. I'm going to go with I've given Hut too many times, so I'm going to go with Zach Johnson.
All right, I'll take Patrick Rogers.
Sounds good to me.
All right,
guys. You guys honestly could have just like skipped the first 25 minutes of this, go on to that last bit, shuffle it, and print. But we'll see how it goes.
Well, that's what I'm doing. I got it all marked down, and I've got. Who was your third bet on to win? It was Bryce. You had the English, and who was the other one?
And then throw in the garbage, Connors.
All right, that's right. Okay. All right, guys, great. Good luck to everyone this weekend at golf and basketball and whatever else you're doing. I know Sheets is probably going to be doing all kinds of stuff, so we'll see you at the top of the leaderboards.
All right, see you later, guys.